Hey guys, today we're going to talk about Gnome Wax, which can take this and turn it into this. And who better to talk about the product than the guy who created it, which he's going to go into pretty good detail about it and tell some pretty good stories, so I encourage you to watch the whole video. And plus, at the end of it, I'm going to have some sample giveaways. I only have 8, so the first 8 to follow the instructions will get some, and I'll mail it to you. And I'll have some of the instructions down in the description of the video. So, let's roll into it. Hey guys, welcome back to B&Gtv. I got my buddy here, Tyler, and he's going to tell us a little about himself and a little about the products that he got here.
My name's Tyler Johnson. I'm a machinist by trade. I make injection molds for gun holsters for a local company here in Ohio. So what I had found was in my trade in machining, you use all sorts of lubricants and oils and waxes to aid in your machining and to keep rust off of your parts and everything like that. The problem I had with them is that they all kind of stink. They don't smell good at all, and you're covered with them at the end of the day. So you go home and you're like, man, I am covered in essentially a byproduct of gasoline. This is great for my skin. This is great for my kids. You know, no, it's not what you want. So
This smells good too.
yeah, that's the original. It's got like a vanilla with a little bit of that sort of barber shoppy scent. You know?
Yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of.
And then the naked is unscented, which makes it completely natural at that point. What I did is my wife had some coconut cooking oil sitting in the pantry because she was making soaps there for a while.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the consistency of it. I'm like, I know it's oil, you know what I mean? But it looks exactly like WD-40. I'm like, I want to see how this stuff works against something like WD-40 because it's a natural oil. And I did some research, and it doesn't go rancid like a lot of your vegetable oils and stuff like that. So I took it into work and I started using it, head to head and testing with WD-40. And there were some things where WD-40 edged it out, but it for the most part kept up neck and neck. And I thought, that is awesome, because I don't care that my hands are covered in it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your skin takes it in pretty well, and people use it in healthcare products and stuff a lot. I'm like, this might be something. So I started thinking, okay, well now I have to make it smell good.
Yeah.
So she had some scent stuff laying around, so I started putting a bunch of scents in it, and I took a bunch of them to work, and I did it way strong the first time. I didn't realize that just a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah. And
the entire tool room smelled like pine. These people walk through like, oh, what is that? It smells good, but God, it's strong. So I finally tuned it down, and before I really locked down my formula to make the wax, I wanted to get sort of an idea as to what sort of scents people would want.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made a basic mixture and made like 10 of each and gave them out to people I knew. I said, hey, which of these smells do you like the best? Like, what would you use day to day? And what I got back most was just the vanilla, because it was kind of light and it wasn't intrusive.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, that'll be original, So at that point, it looked a bit more like this, where it's just the oils. And then from carrying these around all day, given these are just the El Cheapo plastic containers I use for my samples, but
yeah,
I thought this is kind of cumbersome to try to carry with you.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if I made it into a semi-solid, you know, where at room temperature and at pocket temperature it would stay solid, it wouldn't run out, you know. I carry one of these in my pocket all the time, and it stays solid.
Yeah.
But as soon as you need it, you scrape a little bit up at the back of your fingernail, and as soon as you get it, rub it in between your fingers, you get the oil characteristics out of it. It's lubrous, it disperses well, but you ain't got to worry about the container melting in your pocket.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that with beeswax, a certain amount of beeswax. But I'm holding that formula secret because it took a long time to nail that percentage down. And I thought, okay, great. Now I've got coconut oil and beeswax, both of which have an indefinite shelf life, both of which are natural products. I said, but I want something a little different in it.
Mm.
And so I found jojoba oil, or jojoba oil. It's Jojoba oil, which is technically a wax, but it's liquid at room temperature. And that's where this gets the yellow from, is the jojoba oil, because it's a real golden color. But that's supposed to be really good for your skin. A lot of your expensive sort of skincare products use jojoba oil in it.
Okay.
So a little bit of that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was when I was looking at the ingredients, and you know, I was like, what is this jojoba oil?
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of your high-end skincare products use it.
Okay.
They don't use too much of it because it is quite pricey. It's like it is easily the most expensive part of that Gnome Wax is the jojoba oil. But it does a lot of good stuff for you. And so I had this mixture, and I was using it in all sorts of applications at work. Putting it on my taps when we go to tap a hole. Then it would provide the lubricity you'd want for cutting threads.
Mm-hmm.
But it would also do two things because it was a wax. It would hold on to the chips, so you didn't have to pull or blow out a bunch of chips at the bottom of your tapped hole, and it wouldn't run out. Like, it wouldn't run away from the tap.
Yeah.
So you know that once you put the Gnome Wax on your tap and tap it through, you're not running down the side with a bunch of
staying on there.
Yeah,
it's
staying where you put it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. I can carry this around with me all day. I don't even notice it's in my pocket because it's so small. And it lasts a pretty long time. So I started thinking, okay, you know, what else can I use this for? And I've had a beard for quite a while now, and my issue always was that, like, I'd get itchy. You know what I mean? You get to a certain length.
Yeah, when it gets real long, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I was doing some research, and from the information I had found, what that is caused by is your hairs are actually pulling some of that oil out of your skin. And you end up with sort of like dry skin underneath your beard.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, you know, how about I put some of this on there? You know, it's all natural stuff. I ain't got to worry about it. It smells good. I'll put some of this on my beard and see how it does. And it turns out this is formulated fairly close to a lot of your beard balms and stuff.
Yeah, the beard oil.
Big difference is I made sure that all of these ingredients don't go bad sitting there. So, like, you get a thing of beard balm, and typically you keep it, like, you know, in your pantry. It's dark. There's not a lot of air movement.
Yeah.
It'll last a few years. But if I'm gonna put this on something and hope to keep the rust off or something like that, I don't want it to break down and start smelling bad because it's going rancid.
Yeah.
So all the ingredients, they have an indefinite shelf life. So that's the big difference between this and Beard Balm. But I started using it on my beard, you know, just like a back of my fingernail full, like I would use any other beard balm. And the itch went away, and because this has quite a bit more beeswax in it than your standard beard balm, when I get to a certain length, everything would just poof out, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks kind of crazy, which wasn't necessarily ideal.
Yeah.
So the wax I had found helps you keep shape. You know, it takes them crazy flinger hairs and kind of helps hold them down a little bit. You get more shape control, you know, and the oils kept it from itching. It smelled pretty good. So now I know I can use it for taps. I can use it for light drilling operations if you get in a pinch. You know, there's a lot of heat you typically involved with drilling stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're a dedicated machinist and you're going to be on a machine all day, drilling, you know, 1 1/4 holes through steel,
yeah,
maybe something else would work better for you there. But say like something like you're doing, where you're on the move all day.
Yeah.
And you may only have to drill a couple holes or something during the day. Well, you don't want to carry a quart of cutting oil.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it smells like sulfur all day.
Put a little bit on the drill bit and
bust
drill a few holes.
Bust it out of your pocket, zing it through, and off you go. You know, it's portable. And so, you know, taps, drills, beard, and
got leather conditioning, right?
Yeah, yep, that's where I was heading. So a couple years ago when I was building my bike up, I got into leather making because I didn't have enough money to buy a seat, and I wanted a new seat. So the seat I had on it was a bare bones seat from LaPera. And it had, you know, the seat, and then it had like the pad on the fender, little pad. So I took and fabricated those together to make the base. So that's a LaPera frame essentially that I had cut, and then covered it in fairly thick vegetable tanned leather after I tooled it.
That looks good.
Yeah, thank you. It took
really
took a long time. I think I stitched this thing 3 or 4 times because I'd mess up somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'd go back and do it again. There's definitely a learning curve there.
Show it a little closer.
So
yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you. So I started thinking, you know, a lot of times what you'll do with leather is put like a paraffin wax or something on it, which paraffin wax is still petroleum based. But I thought, why wouldn't this work similarly? You know, it's got the oil in it, so it'll soften the leather back up, and it's got the wax to keep the water out. So I started trying it on it, you know, working it in, rubbing it in, and then light buff off, and it worked really well. I was really surprised with it, and it didn't change the color of the leather. So you can keep your tan if you have tan, you keep your brown if you have brown. And then what I ended up doing was I started using it on all my leather stuff, just all of it. Boots. Oftentimes I'll wear suspenders, put it on my suspenders, on my belts, all that sort of stuff. Knife sheaths, because a lot of times those will dry out.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of the death of a good sheath, is when it gets dry and kind of hard. Well, what we had found is that by starting off with an oil, like the Gnome oil, and then finishing it off with the Gnome Wax, you essentially bring it back to life by rehydrating it and then sealing it again.
Okay.
And if you use the unscented stuff, it's like brand new, you know. And so then it was kind of a natural progression to, okay, well, if I'm going to use this stuff on the outside of the sheath, you know, why not put some on the inside? That way, when you have your knife in there, you're not going to rust it.
Yeah.
It's putting that layer of wax back on every time you insert and pull out your knife. And that actually worked really, really well. I did a one-to-one test. I took a piece of cold roll steel, just flat plate, sandblasted it so it was completely bare, and then on one side I coated it with Gnome Wax, and the other side I left bare, and I let it sit outside, and within a day or two the untreated side started getting surface rust, and then bad rust, and then really bad rust.
Yeah.
And the other side looked just fine, like brand new.
Like brand new.
And that lasted a really long time until I think one day it got really, really hot outside, and then it rained, and so the heat sort of
melted the wax away.
Melted the wax and made it more easy to come off, and then the water washed it off.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, I'm like, I'm kind of okay with that, you know, because it's a natural product. I'm using it for a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to leave my knife outside for 3 months in the sun.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because it's natural products, I wouldn't care to, you know, cut up my kid's hot dog with it, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's a big problem. Funny fact, at like the Renaissance fairs, where people they're kind of in costume and in that life for a week.
Yeah.
They can't use, you know, accurate knives like from that time because they're all carbon steel.
Okay.
And the problem is people would coat them in, you know, a petroleum-based rust preventative, and then they'd have these big feasts every night, and people would be cutting up pigs and chickens and stuff like that with these knives that are coated in petroleum stuff.
Yeah.
So they put the kibosh on that, and they said, hey, if you're going to carry your knife with you, it's got to be stainless so that you don't have to put a rust preventative on it. But, hey, that's not petroleum-based, you know? It's plant stuff. It's coconut oil. You put coconut oil, you can use as a replacement for canola or vegetable oil for cooking.
For the pan and everything to keep it from sticking, right?
Exactly. And then beeswax, that's not going to hurt you.
No, you can use it as lip balm. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's food safe, you know. So I always thought that was kind of funny because I never thought about that way, that they can't use the knives they want to because they've got to cut their food with it. But with this, they'd be able to.
Yeah.
You know. So I was using all my leather stuff, right? And then from time to time, I've got to deal with the dead tree carcasses, you know, so wood.
Yeah.
I work with wood. I'm a metals guy, so I'm a little bit biased on that. But I thought, you know, if it works well for my beard, which is sort of a similar sort of structure with your hair, works good for leather. Leather and wood and your beard all want the same thing. You know what I mean? If they dry out completely for a long time, they tend to deteriorate.
They want that moisture.
They want a little bit of that moisture. They don't want water in them all the time. They'll still start going bad. So I thought this should work for wood. And so I started testing it. You know, first I just started on pine because that's what I had laying around with water tests, and sure enough, the water just beaded right off of it and rolled off. And I thought, okay, I couldn't tell a color difference in pine because it's just white.
Yeah.
And it was like yellowy white color. It didn't change. What would happen if I started putting it on something with a little more, you know, structure to it, a little more grain? So I had some cedar laying around. It was like aromatic cedar, and it was really really well kind of cut. It was a nice looking piece of cedar. And as soon as I put the Gnome Wax on it, it completely jumped. And you know, like if you put a polyurethane on something,
like the grains darkened and everything.
Yeah, you could see that difference.
That contrast to the, yeah.
Exactly. I thought, man, that is something, you know. So I kept trying different sort of hardwoods and more exotic stuff, and it seemed like most stuff when you put Gnome Wax on it, not only did you get the water resistance, but it really brought out the grain. And what was nice about it was you didn't have to worry about having this beautiful natural piece of wood.
Yeah.
That's been like sculpted into shape and sanded smooth, and then you dunk it in petroleum products as a polyurethane to protect it. That's that kind of goes against what you just did, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Gnome Wax, it's natural stuff that you're putting on your natural wood product, you know, and it kind of makes you feel better about it. It made me feel better about it anyway. So I started using on wood, had good success, and so which brought us back into the knife world, where you got wood scales on your carbon steel knife. Well, you can treat the entire thing with Gnome Wax that's in your pocket. So if you're out hunting or something like that, and you go to dress your kill or something like that, wipe it off, right? And then just reapply a light coat of Gnome Wax, put it back in your sheath, and you don't have to worry about your wood getting all stained up or deteriorating, and then you don't have to worry about surface rust on your blade. And you can still use it to cut your steak later. All you need is a real light coating on your blade. You'll barely even see it, you know.
Yeah.
But it serves as that barrier.
And I noticed when I use it on my sockets and everything that it doesn't take very much at all to cover the whole socket and everything, and it makes like the metal almost feel better in your hands. Like you know, I don't know how to explain it exactly. It's like almost like soft. It's not, you don't feel the wax. Like it doesn't feel like waxy or slippery or anything, but it just feels nice and conditioned. Like the wax really got into like the pores of the metal. Right.
That's the idea. It gets into the pores and blocks out the moisture that would normally want to jump into those pores. So when you're doing stuff like tools, like you'd be doing, one of these containers would probably cover your entire tool set.
Yeah.
Easily, because all you'd have to do is you take a rag or like a cotton rag or something like that, and just wipe the top little bit of it off, and that should be enough to do quite a few tools. And then, you know, once it starts looking like, oh, I'm not really getting much on that tool, well, take another quick swipe at it, and off you go. So it's kind of funny caveat into tools, because it's not like a beard, it's not like a knife, it's not like a tap.
Yeah.
But it works on tools really well because it prevents rust. And along those same lines, because it's in your pocket and you don't notice it and you have it with you, I kind of started trying to find out what else could I use this for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you take it out and it's kind of slippery and it stays slippery. So I thought, I wonder if you could use it as like an around the house sort of lubricant.
Yeah.
You know? So we had a squeaky door at my mother and father-in-law's house. It had been squeaky for years, you know, and it was just one of those things. I didn't really think much of it, but it was just their front door.
Yeah.
So I showed up at their house one day and said, "Hey, can I take your front door off real quick?" And they said, "What?" "Yeah, can I take your front door off real quick?" "Okay, whatever," you know. So we got out the hammer and drove the pins out of the hinges. And then I just took and coated the pins in Gnome Wax and put the door back together. And it was silent. There was no noise at all. Back and forth and back and forth, how many times you want. So holy cow, that really worked, and you don't have to worry about getting a bunch of like WD all over your wood and all over your stain.
Spraying it, making a mess, let it drip everywhere.
Yeah, or grease on your paint.
Yeah.
It doesn't show up even if you get a little bit on your paint on your door and your wood, it doesn't show up. And it's not going to break down and start stinking over time as if you would take a vegetable oil and cover it with it. So I'm like, okay, it worked good for door hinges. What else could I do with it? And so I started putting it on my keys a little bit when I drive it into my locks. And next thing you know, my locks are working a lot easier, a lot smoother. Basically, most components with your doorknobs, where you've got moving components on each other, work a lot better with a little bit of lubrication on it. It's kind of one of those things where you don't have to make a separate trip back to the garage to be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
It's in your pocket.
Yeah, because in a nice convenient container and everything.
So once I got to the point where I had my formula locked down, I had the scent locked down, I took and had my buddy, who's a graphic designer, take a sketch that I did by hand and turn that into a vector drawing so I could start making stickers and stuff like that and labels. He did a really good job with that.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Thank you. So I started making these little sample packages, these little slide tins, and just giving them out to everybody I knew as like a pre-release to see if there's any issues anybody had with it that would shake out. And what I got back was people were talking to me and saying, "Hey, this stuff saved my butt," because a lot of people were, they're working in factories or they're one guy's a farmer. The farmer came back and said, "Hey, we had a flat on the side of the road one day, and I was trying to, I think it was a side by side or something like that. It was UTV." Anyway, they were trying to put the plug in it because they had a plug kit with them, a little compressor.
Yeah, it was too tight to go in, or something.
Yeah, it wouldn't go into the side of the wall because the hole was, it ended up getting a puncture right here.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get it past the steel banding, and they were trying and like really shoving it, and they could not get it. They were like hitting it with a stick, and they could not get it through. And so he remembered that a couple days before I'd given him a little thing of Gnome Wax, and he put a little bit of Gnome Wax on there and just right in, no problem. I'm like, that is really cool to hear, that
yeah,
it'll help you out in a pinch,
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, this is good. The only thing that I got back that wasn't all positive was something that I had learned about anyway, and they didn't listen, I guess, is that some people are allergic to coconuts.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a nut thing. And so I made sure to clearly label it on the back of the package, and it's on the website that, hey, if you have a coconut allergy, you might want to shy away from it.
Yeah.
And one person came back and said, I didn't know I was allergic to coconuts, but I guess I'm a little bit allergic to coconuts. I'm like, oh, wow, that sucks. Man.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, clearly labeled. Coconuts, no go if you're a coconut allergy person, but I'm sure at some point, if this starts taking off, we'll have an alternative for those that are, allergic to coconuts.
Yeah.
So I had a product that I knew what it would do, I knew how people could use it, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to make a website on this and try to start getting it out to the world. And like I said, I'm not a tech guru, you know what I mean? I'm a machinist.
Yeah.
So took a while and made a website and just got it all set up through Shopify and all that. And that was an adventure,
Well, I bet.
It's like walking into a different world, But I got it set up and people started buying it and started liking it, and I've got some knife makers in Ohio and some people that do really, really good work from, you know, opposite ends of the country.
Yeah.
That are interested in it because it falls right in their alley. One dude makes cutting boards, so he was using it on that and really liked it. The other guy was a knife guy, and the other one does kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Which falls in line with this because you could use it on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think that, to me, I think that's the best thing about it is like the variety of what you can use it on, and it's so convenient and small. But then it's all natural too, so you don't have to worry about it being on certain things, like you're saying with the knives and stuff like that. You know, you can put it on the knives, and you have to worry about cutting your kids' food with it, or.
I really like it. I carry one with me all the time. For the same reason you carry a pocket knife with you all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Because what do you use a pocket knife for? Just a whole bunch of different stuff, right?
Yeah,
and it's like small. It's easily carryable. Same idea with this stuff.
Like I said, pocket knife and the Crescent, I'm always having on me.
Right. Right. Pocket knife and a Leatherman. Always. But the same idea with this. I heard a good anecdote from a guy who's real big into hunting and camping and stuff like that. He said, don't carry anything with you unless it'll do 3 things. And I'm like, well, we're covered. You can carry this with you because it'll do more than 3 things, you know, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's why I carry one. So that was always good. Well, hey, man, thank you very much for having me out today. I've got to get back to work and start making chips.
Yep.
So.
Well, that's it. I just wanted to bring you on the show and let you tell your story, basically, because I used it and I thought this stuff was really great, and I just, you know, I mean, we were friends back in high school, we know each other and everything, and I saw you come up with this, and I thought this was like a great idea, and I just want to take a little bit of what I could do to see if I can help you out, and
yeah.
Like I said, I'm sold on it. I think this is great. This is a great product, and it's so useful and stuff.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm looking into coming out with bigger containers of it. You can pick these up from my site for like $6.50, shipped to your house, or I think it's like,
which I'll put down in the description of this channel.
Yep. Or you do 3 for $12, shipped to you. But I want to start doing a bigger container so I can get somebody more wax for a lower cost, because a lot of what my cost is on these is the packaging and the labeling, and just the base shipping for something that small is still, you know, a considerable portion of that cost. With a larger container, I'm thinking maybe about 4 ounces or so. It'd be something you can keep on your toolbox.
How many ounces is this right here?
That is a little less than 1, I believe.
It's about 1 ounce.
Yeah. But with a bigger container, that'll last you. You'll probably buy one, and I probably won't see a sale from you for a long time. Unless you, I don't know, do something silly with it.
Maybe your manufacturer that you're
right.
using on a bunch of stuff like all the time is like your main. Like you say, that guy with the makes cutting boards is really interested. Maybe like him, he would get that 4 ounce and go through a lot faster. But like for the average person, I mean, this 1 ounce bottle will last you. I mean, this is mine. You can see I used it on my tools and sealing stuff up, and it still is not that big of a dent in it.
Quite a bit there.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so that'll be in the works, as well as the oil. Once I get that spun up. So yeah, keep an eye out for it. GnomeWax.com.
Yep.
Where to find more information.
And like I said, I'm gonna put that down in the description. And I know he has to get back to work, so I'll let him go. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to see more videos like this. And also, he brought in 8 containers. And so if you guys share this video and write down in the comments, I'll do a giveaway and send these things out to you guys. so you guys can give it a shot and see what you guys think, and then you guys let me know what you feel about it, and I can get back with Tyler. And yeah, I think this stuff is great, so
thank you very much for having me on.
Hey guys, in case you missed it in the video, to get the free samples of the Gnome Wax, like the video and comment below, and I'll send you a link to my Facebook Messenger, which you can discreetly send me your address and I'll mail one to you. I have 4 original and 4 naked, so I only have so many, so I hope to get the one that you want sent to you. Alright, thanks again for watching. You're going to have to like the video and comment below, and I'll send you a link to my Facebook Messenger, which we can discreet. Man, I can't say the word. I'll send you. Which you can send me your. Oh my god. Like the video and comment below, and and I'll send you the link to my Facebook Messenger, which you can discreet. Is it good? Not good? I don't know.